Joy W. Wait till you feel the energy and the light from Joy. It's absolutely wonderful. She created a clothing line, Be the Difference, and she just my goodness, I just made this connection. Her name is just so appropriate for her, isn't it? Uh Joy. She just shines, and she's got these great she's written books, and she's got these great quotes that she's created, and she puts them on her apparel, on t-shirts, on babies clothes, on pullovers, on socks, and we go through them. She was inspired. The inspiration of this is absolutely wonderful. She witnessed something that's just horrific. Addiction is a terrible thing, and we talk about it for a little bit. And but just the quotes that she comes up with, that we focus on, absolutely wonderful. Holding on to pain won't make it hurt worse. Healing takes time. It's time to start healing. So it's just these great quotes that she's come up. She wrote books, and so she decided to put the quotes on the clothes, and what she's done, and she donates the money. Proceeds go to helping children in her area. It's a wonderful conversation. I enjoyed it so much, and I'm a happier person for it, and I know you will be as well. Thanks for listening. Hi, I'm Joey Pinz. People ask me, how did I lose 130 pounds? The quick answer is always discipline. I started my business, wasn't paying attention to my health, was eating too much, drinking too much sweets. My daughter was born. Next thing I know, I'm pre-diabetic, I have hypertension. I knew something had to change. Discipline. I, like many of you, have faced many challenges in your career, in your family, in your life, in your faith. How did you attack them? How did you approach them? How did you solve them, hopefully? It all had to have some degree of discipline. I'm also asked, how did you found and start a tech business? And it lasted over 25 years. Discipline. I was committed to it, enjoyed technology, didn't enjoy some aspects of it, but knew it was necessary. Discipline. Our podcast mission: how do we use discipline to better ourselves and society? Join me, please, as I talk to interesting people and discuss how they use discipline in their family, in their passion, in their careers, and how it helped them. Our podcast vision: growth through learning from others. Joey Pinz Disciple Conversations. It'll be light and serious. Join us, please. Thank you for consideration. Joy, I appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for doing this. What should people know about running a clothing business, a clothing line?
It's hard, number one. Now, when I say hard, I just mean like one thing you're always going to run into having problems is sizing. I never really believed that. My mentor told me that. And I was like, no way, I'm always going to have enough sizes, right? But that's not true. You're always going to have an issue with sizing. You're always going to probably, if you carry a lot of colors individually, you may have issues with colors too. I'll tell you a good
Wow.
example. So I could be at a pop up and I have the right design, right size, but wrong color.
Uh,
Because people are like, oh, I like that color. Can I have it in this? And then some people are apprehensive in doing a pre-order for whatever reason. So those are the two major things that you'll have an issue with.
So you have to have, oh wow, because you do t-shirts, you do novelty socks. Obviously, sizing really doesn't come in issue, I would think. Hoodies, and then like babies' clothes as well.
Yes. That's probably the easiest item to carry
Uh,
because
uh,
we only carry 6 months to 24 months.
I see.
And I think we're gonna start back trying to get into like the 2 and 3, 4Ts because I'm starting to see a lot more people have the older ones, the little toddlers. So they need inspiration too.
They certainly do. So you describe as driving home from an event, and you see somebody that's kind of stuck, and they're standing, and it's like it's an epiphany moment for you.
Yeah, it was horrible. I mean, it was when I say horrible, it was heartbreaking. Two
Uh,
things that crossed my mind. First thing is I had never seen anybody under any type of influence like that before. I mean, like, this is someone standing straight. This is their head, and this is their back. They were that way. And I
mm.
mean, if my hand could go further back, it would go further back. So, like, these are your legs. Their whole entire torso, their head was almost touching this,
Oh my God.
basically the back of their kneecaps. And I was just like, you know, you see that kind of stuff maybe in the movies or you hear about it, but to actually see it midnight or late at night and
Mm.
after an event, there's nobody else on the street, too. And it's
Wow.
wintertime. Like, that kind of activity, that kind of um, substance abuse, I had never seen in the area that I was staying in ever. And to see that, it was just heartbreaking. And the second thing that hit my mind was, I know when they were a toddler,
Uh,
one, two, second, third, fourth grade, they probably never had the idea or the audacity to think that they would actually be an addict for their living. Like, no child, and I could just think of, like, when they were probably smiling and laughing, and just to know a few short years later, because life is like this, you're not utilizing your purpose. You're probably feeling terrible that you're such a burden. Like, addicts do have feelings, you know what I
of
mean?
course.
So
Of
I think
course.
about those things too. I'm like, I know when a person comes to themselves and actually sees themselves, they can't be happy with the
Mm.
product that they see. They can't be happy knowing that they've let their parents down or their siblings down or their children down. They cannot be happy knowing that they lived X amount of years and did nothing with it, and they have nothing to show. There's no way in the world I cannot foresee anyone absolutely being thrilled with, oh, I don't care. I'm an addict for my life. That's my livelihood. I don't mind stealing. I don't mind robbing. I don't mind giving my body up. I don't mind giving my soul up just so I can get to the next high. Nobody. I still think that you still have some type of dignity. Nobody wants to go through that. I don't mind getting beat up. I don't mind getting raped, guys or women, men or women. I don't I don't care. I don't care that I had to use a used needle, not knowing whether I'm going once I come to that, I may end up giving myself hepatitis or even AIDS or something. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't believe that somebody would be okay with living their life like that, knowing that whatever they wanted to truly be in life can't be done at that moment.
Mm.
I just can't. These are the things that go through my mind, and that's why
Right.
I get so heartbroken. Like,
Last time I haven't been in Manhattan for a while. I was there a couple years ago, and I was walking, one of the neighborhoods. I was going through some brownstones, and I just happened to look down, and there was, a young girl. Ages now, Joy, I can't tell. Everybody looks so young to me, but I'm going to assume she was 14, 15, and she's just removing that needle right from her arm, and her eyes go back, and it's like,
jeez.
oh my goodness, and it's just this reality of this, and um there's got to be some hope, and we've got to create hopefully more positivity. It's so easy to say, of course it's a serious problem, but so that shook you, that event shook you.
Yeah,
Went home and you did what?
I said, I know majority of the people who are not under that type of influence feel bad, and you always,
Right.
naturally we want to do something. I said, well, I'm not going to be that person that says, oh well, I can't do anything. I'm going to utilize what people absolutely think is very profound is my voice, my words. Now, not
Mm,
my voice, but my words. So I
mm,
went ahead and with fear, trust me, I was very nervous about this. The design Addiction Kills the Family came up. And while I was thinking about that, while this person was the actual climax of how this shirt became, I also said, you know what? I leave it that way because anybody who may be addicted to anything could relate to that saying.
mm,
Because
mm.
there's so many other addictions that no one talks about that actually is an issue. You have people who are addicted to working, people addicted
Food.
to their phone, food. Yes,
Yeah.
porn. You have people
Yes.
addicted to like hating themselves,
Yeah.
cutting themselves. There's so much out there. So I said, anything that takes the majority of your want and desire and time to be with family can be an addiction. Not saying it is, but maybe it makes people be more aware of, okay, maybe I need to work on that. Maybe there's some counseling, and there's nothing wrong with counseling. There's some counseling that I might need to have. Maybe I need to check back in with my family, my friends, and see,
Mhm.
how they feel about me not being around. So that's the reasoning behind that. It's a conversational piece. Like, I don't want to blame anybody because it's a us problem. So the more
Right.
that we talk about us and the issues that we have, people will not be afraid to expose
Mm,
their insecurities and move on.
well said.
We got to learn how to show each other grace.
We
So
certainly do. Yeah, we are in this together because everybody's affected by it. Everybody is affected by addiction in some way. Everybody knows somebody. There's a family member. There's some way addiction is there, and there has to be more support. There has to be more love.
yes,
There has to be. There absolutely has to be. We're more alike than we are not. Just it's so again, these are so easy to say. I've never met a beautiful person with an ugly soul. If you can't find anything to be thankful for, then maybe you're the problem.
mm, you looking at my socks. Yes, that's actually my part 2 book. It's only available on socks. Now, when I
Hmm.
wrote this book, like, I had my first book that came out, and I mean, I I did an interview with someone. Well, I was running a series on YouTube called Our Lives Seen Through My Eyes,
I saw that. Yeah.
and one of the persons that volunteered was in school, so I gave her my first book. And she took a picture and posted on Instagram that her mom got a hold of the book, kept it for herself. And she said she put labels on every quote that she liked. The whole book was filled with labels. I was
Ha!
like, so I was like, you know what? This second book, when I was reading through, about to go through the process of publishing, I was like, oh, these quotes don't seem to hit too hard. Now, like, I should have given it a year or two before I actually did that.
I
But
see.
I said, you know what? Since it's not really hitting that hard, it's not really, as good as the first one, I'll just put it on socks, whatever. And so the idea is, once all of the quotes from that second book have been on socks, I'm discontinuing that book. Now, with
Wow.
quotes like the ones you just read, I'm like, girl, why did you do that? Those quotes are good.
Very good. Very good. It's amazing to have a major holiday geared towards being thankful. Can you dig it?
That's something to think about. Like, Thanksgiving is that holiday.
That's right.
And, you know, I believe that it was the only pure holiday where it wasn't really commercialized, because there was no gifts to buy. It was just buy your turkey and go to a family or friend's house and eat all afternoon
Mm,
and watch football.
right.
But now they bulldozed it and started Black Friday, 5 o'clock.
That's right.
So,
Shocking. Commercial. Yeah.
they took it away, and then, like, that's no longer my favorite holiday. You know,
Mm.
I'm just like,
Everybody's waking up early on Friday to get those deals, and there's fights at the mall, and there's yeah.
not
Yeah.
anymore, because like they open
Yeah,
up
that's
on that
all
Thursday. It's done.
that's right.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, yeah, that is true, and, yeah, and then, sometimes there could be family arguments and things like that, but, it kinda keep the spirit of it alive, and hopefully everybody stays thankful. It's tough.
yeah. So I don't personally celebrate holidays, but if somebody
Hmm,
invites me, I'm not gonna be like, no. I'm just
right.
like, I don't want to play into the commercialism aspect of it,
Mm,
where, like, part of I know what my intentions are, but I know what the mega people's intentions are. They want to get
right.
your money, and I don't ever want to feed that. I don't want to be feeding that
Mm,
organization anymore.
mm, mm,
You know what I'm
mm.
saying? If I want to buy something, It's because I enjoy you every day and I want to do something special for you. But it's not because it's like, oh my goodness, Christmas is coming around. Now it's Thanksgiving is coming around. Valentine's Day is coming around, or New Year's night is coming around. Like it's it's oh my goodness, every day I'm grateful that I was able to wake up and talk to you. I'm
Mm,
grateful that you're still here. So let me give you not only my love and my concern, but let me give you a token of my appreciation. That's
mm.
how it should be,
It certainly is. I find as I get older, Joy, that I just have I become more of a minimalist. I have just too much stuff. I don't need all this. I find myself giving it more away. And it was my birthday recently, and my daughter's, what do you want? Don't you dare buy me anything. I want experiences. I
Yes,
want experiences. I don't want gifts. I've got too many. Just let's go make something to eat. Let's go for a walk. Let's go somewhere. Let's have an experience.
that's
These are
beautiful.
priceless.
I agree.
Absolutely.
That sounds like fun. Yes.
It does. It does. I'm at peace to know you're just a piece of my life.
Yeah, that was a personal one. It's just saying, it's like saying to people that, you know, even though whatever didn't transpire or stay, WHOLE, I'm glad that it was just a piece of my life. And you no longer have the hold over me that could hurt me anymore, or me allow the thought of you to hurt me anymore. So that's the idea behind that.
It's I always ask when I talk to, musicians, and I say, or artists, I say, when you write a song or create a piece of art, does it matter what your intention is, or it just matters of whoever's consuming it, whoever's taking it in, they can make up whatever they want. So when I read that, I thought of a positive thing. I thought, you're a piece of my life. You're not here anymore, but you're still a very piece of my life. You kind of have a bit more deeper,
Yeah.
and it sounds
But
like something
that's
dramatic.
the idea. That's
That's the
the
beauty
idea.
of it.
It's
Yeah.
whatever. Just like when we go to like an art museum or an
Mm,
art opening, you see one thing, but somebody sees something totally different.
that's
But
right.
we can come together and agree, like, okay, I see. Like now, I can see your point of view. Oh, I can see your point of view too, and I never thought about it that way. That's the idea of us opening ourselves and being receptive to other people's perceptions.
Yeah, there's no wrong answer,
No,
right? That's the beauty of it. I see a painting, and I see optimism and beauty, and then the tour guide says, "Well, it's from World War II, and those depict death." And this is, well, I didn't see that at all. And now you've tainted it, but I'm going to still stick with what Again, that's the beauty of art. It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. There's a famous story where Bob Dylan wrote "Along the Watchtower," wrote a great song, and then a couple weeks later, Jimi Hendrix performed the song live, and Bob Dylan was there, and Bob Dylan said, "That was never my song. I
wow.
wrote it, but it's Jimmy. It's his. The way he performed it is I give myself chills. Is that's the way it should be performed, and he never performed it again.
Wow.
So
That's
he felt
beautiful.
that he was a vessel for the art. He put it out there. Somebody took it who actually owned it. So perhaps that's what's done here as well.
Yeah. I'm just, like you said, a vessel. Um, I used to do my talk show. It's called Hello World on YouTube.
Yeah,
I
I've
used to do
listened.
that
Yeah.
every day. And I know, not I know and believe that once I hit that go live button, I let all of me, well, most of me, I let most of me go to the side, and then everything that I allowed God, Maker, Creator, ancestors, or whoever wanted to use me to help
Mm,
someone else showed up. Because sometimes when
mm,
I was talking and not breathing, but just talking, I'm like,
mm.
oh, girl, that sounds good. Where'd you come down? It's like in my head, I'm like, oh, that sounds good. But then when
Right.
it comes out, I'm like, oh my goodness, I never thought of that. Because
Right.
literally, it was something that I needed to hear, and whoever else was listening or maybe listening to the replay needed to hear. So I definitely can't give myself credit for what I do on that talk show. It's all just like me being obedient and me being willing to help my community, the society, whatever, or whomever.
Yeah, those are great. You're like in your car sometimes, and some, it's like this stream of consciousness that is just, and you're seeing who's coming up, and it's wonderful, and it's authentic joy. It's authentic.
I don't know what else to be but me.
Right. You're great at it. Your hope is lives to change, sparks to be lit, hearts to remember or believe in love. Last but not least, each person applies what is shared. It's
Yeah,
kind of your mission.
yeah. I should
It's
change
wonderful.
hope. I should change that word, hope to desire.
Uh,
Because when we really think about what the word hope means, it keeps you in limbo. And I
mm,
don't want anything to stay limbo. I want to use more proactive words. I had
mm.
a talk show about that, just defining dictionary words and cutting out
Hmm,
some of the language that we use, because a lot of the language that we use, we don't really understand what we're saying.
mm.
So it goes back to, like, I grew up in church and I used to read the Bible every year, front to back, right? And one thing I learned was it's better to be quiet and listen, and you learn a lot more.
Mm.
So a lot of wise people didn't really say much. They just sat there and let all the foolish people who thought they knew everything go ahead and talk.
Very true. I find that as I get older, Joy, I have more questions than I have answers. I just keep asking questions like I'm doing right now and learning from people that I can learn from, and you talked about hope before. In business, we always say hope is not a strategy. I hope we get some clients. I hope money comes, but I desire it. My goal is this. It's very different language.
Yeah. And that it has to be done.
Mm,
It has to be done. There's no other option. It has to be done. And it's
it
something
has to
inside
be.
of you, or the people that come to you are prepared to do whatever has to be done.
Mm,
And, I believe as long as your heart is pure and your intentions are pure, well, your intentions will be pure if your heart is pure. Um,
certainly.
you know, the floodgates will open for you,
Yeah.
but we have to stay in that openness.
Yeah, just a little more love. It takes less energy to be loving. It takes
It
more
sure
energy to be
does.
hateful.
It sure does.
Don't allow yourself to be polished too much. You end up changing the purpose and the intent.
Yeah, that's um, also when you have too many people giving their opinions about what you should do, or you asking, not being confident in the fact that if you allow God, your maker, creator, or whatever you believe in that sustains us, if you allow them to work through your life and you give them a piece of your life, you're never going to need anyone else's approval because you
Mm,
already have the answer. So that is basically like, you don't want to be too polished to the point where you don't know have enough fight or flight. You don't want to be too rough where you can't be polished. So it's got to be a nice little balance.
it certainly does. Yeah, I think polish. I think kind of hubris. I think almost arrogance.
Mhm.
The odd thing about advice is sometimes you don't ask for it and you get it, and then if you don't take it, they're offended, so you gotta be very. I almost never give advice. If somebody asks for my advice, I tell them a story that where I had something similar and what I did and whether it worked or not. To give advice is so presumptuous and arrogant. Who am I to give advice? I had a similar situation and I did this. It didn't kind of work out, or it did. I think if we all did that, it would be a little. I don't know. This is my advice, my 2 cents. That's
I believe that's beautiful because it's allowing
yeah.
your ego not to take precedence.
That's it. That's the
You
problem.
know,
Yeah. Yeah. Once ego gets in, my goodness, then narrow mindedness and stubbornness, and people lean back and dig in, and um, bad things can happen. Can we do what we're supposed to do until we can do what we want to do?
do the work. do
Wonderful
the
sentiment.
work. Just do the work. Just do the work, and that means heal. That's what we're supposed to do. Heal from our
Mm.
traumas so that we have the right spirit to go forward and do what we're supposed to do.
I think the one of the most terrible, vicious things somebody can call somebody is lazy. Because when you're lazy, it means you can do it, you have the resources to do it, you just don't want to.
Mm, that's a waste
You
of
know,
life.
it really is. It's just it's a tragedy, isn't it? It's just um you have all there's so many people who don't have the resources or don't have the energy or the willpower and they can't do it. And then somebody who does it doesn't. It's a terrible thing.
It's like a smack in the face. Like I believe we were brought here, right? We got the chance to fight against all these other sperm floating around, right?
Mm,
You
good
made it.
point. Yeah.
You made it. And then you spent 9 months in a cave, then came out and whomever that hopefully whoever was guardian over you cared for you enough to try to train you to be a decent person.
Right.
Then you got to know whoever, God, whatever, because we all have that experience when we're younger. And you wake up and you're like, blessed to be 32. And then you turn around and there's some people who don't even make it 6 months.
Right.
There's some people who don't even make it to 20. There's some
Mm,
people that don't even make it to like high school. That means they'll never go to a prom, a junior
mm,
prom. They'll never graduate high school. They'll never graduate college. They'll never have a chance to even kiss somebody for the first time. They'll never
mm.
have the experience of romance. They'll never get a chance to get married or maybe go on vacation with their friends. Like, let's think about it. Like, we are so blessed. I
Right.
know it's human for us to have down times, but we have to think of that. Like, there's so many other people who will never get to experience the thing. You don't even get to experience reproducing another human being.
Right.
And it's like, you, I, I believe if more people thought that way about life and wherever they are and what stage they're in, I believe that's going to kick them back into like being purposeful. I really do. There's no, because I'm thinking about it now, like, dang, I made it. There's
Me
no
too.
reason why I should find a day where I can't be thankful for something.
Gratitude.
Yes.
Holding on to pain won't make it hurt worse.
Yep. Let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Yeah. Yeah. What do they say? Yeah. Is it vengeance? Is like drinking poison yourself and hoping the other person feels it or something like that. It's just
They don't
you've
feel
got to learn to separate. They
it.
don't feel it at all. They don't even know.
Mm-mm.
They don't even know.
And
What we think about. I'm sorry.
the funny thing is, they don't feel it, but you don't even tell them that you're feeling
That's
it.
right.
They can feel it.
It's the shame of it. Yeah. And then you're just, stress and, these are the invisible killers of us, stress and, uh, holding on to all that pain. Um, what we think about the most creates our reality. Can you dig it?
That's why I try to think uplifting things most of the time.
Mm,
That's why, because 5 years ago, I must have been thinking about where I wanted to be at this very moment. And if I feel like I lack anything now, I better start thinking about what I want in the next 2 years or year
mm,
or 6 months from now. And so that way, when it comes time, I'm there. And I can look
hmm,
back and be like, oh my goodness, it really works. Thank you, God, ancestors, everybody. My whole team.
mm.
That's what I always like to say. That's my whole team protecting me,
Wonderful. Because next month will be 2 years for your clothes business, correct?
No. So I started,
2013 August?
yeah. Oh, I thought you said 2 years.
Oh, no, 10.
Oh, yeah,
10.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, crazy, right? How much time
Yeah.
flies. I remember I made this design called The Grass is Greener right here. And I anticipated, like, I have to, like, I feared myself into being a statistic for businesses. You have to make certain amounts of money by this time so that they consider you a legitimate business and not a hobby. It's like I have to. I feared myself so much that it didn't happen. But the cool thing is, it just branched off into so many different things, you know? So it went from t shirts to onesies to caps. I'm probably going to bring that back too. Then hoodies, then a book, then a talk show,
Socks. Yeah.
socks. It's just, while I may not see the monetary gains just yet, I know how to focus now and be like, this is what I need. So
Mm.
those little adjustments, now that I know better, can only make the business more strong. And, my desire now is to grow a team of people, not only that would want to work with Be the Difference Clothing, but also a team of people who challenge themselves every day to be the difference in their own lives and do whatever they can do in their community to grow whatever they're trying to grow.
It's wonderful, Joy. Yeah. Whatever blessings you came with are the same blessings you'll leave with.
I was mad. I
Were
was
you?
definitely mad. I was definitely mad when I made that one. And just so you guys know, a lot of times, unfortunately, our most creative flow comes when we're like down.
Yes.
It's crazy, but that's just, I don't know why it has to be like that, but maybe that's the only time we can focus on being submissive and not allowing ourselves to have anything because we're just down. So I was definitely not happy with the way some things were going on. So I said, well, when I leave this situation, everything that I brought to the table is coming with me.
Mm.
We'll see when I'm gone. You're gonna wish that you never pushed me away. You know what I mean? That's the thought process behind it.
I was I when I read it, I remember when Tina Turner, when she separated from, Ike there and bad divorce, but she said the only thing I want from this is my name. I don't want anything else. So she came in with that name and left with her name. And I thought of that. And it's yeah, it can be heartbreaking. There's a Jewish proverb, and I bet you I get this wrong, Joy, but something about if you bring your problems up to this mountain, and the rule is you can drop all your problems that you weigh, but you have to take someone else's. And everybody comes back from the mountain with their own problems.
Mm,
They realize that it's not as bad as the others.
I
I
like
don't
that.
think I
I like
paraphrased it, but it's a wonderful kind of
no,
proverb.
I like that. And that brings you. It should humble you.
Right.
It should humble you to know like your problem isn't as bad. Like you can carry your weight, but you can't carry theirs. And they're looking at you like you would never be able to carry this weight. I wish I had yours.
Unless given a lethal dose of hate, to love the pain away is the mission.
Say that one again.
Unless given a lethal dose of hate, to love the pain away is the mission.
That's beautiful.
It is.
It's just like no matter how many times you are trying to be positive and you see like, no, that's not possible. You're just being optimistic. Those are like lethal doses of hate,
Yeah.
but no matter what, as long as you have blood flowing through you, you have God, your maker, creator, or whoever, still, carrying you through, bringing you through the darts and protecting you from all the snares, like you still can love. You still can love. And like you said, love covers a multitude of sins. You can't tell me in the heat of an argument, if somebody just says, I love you, that you can argue anything back.
Right.
What can you say to that? What you mean you love me? Like, like that stops everything.
Yeah. Arguing back and forth and politics or whatever separates us, that people just kind of dig in and egos get in the way, and it's horrible, and it's funny, you just kind of motioned what you just did right there, because when I read that, I thought of taking punches. I
Mhm.
thought of, you're getting knocked, and you're taking punches. But can you take it? What do you do with it? Do you become stronger? Do you learn from it? That's the goal.
Yeah, just keep on keeping on. I love it, like how our perspectives are so different, but like
Yeah.
it's unique in its own way, you
It's
know?
amazing, yeah, but they're ultimately the same, right? They're different because we both have a different kind of view, but essentially it's just love and kindness and forgiveness, and there you go. Yeah, kindness, yeah. Consistency is key. You have that in a lot of places.
Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed that. It's just, we have to all stay consistent. A lot of times we fall off for whatever circumstances that come in our lives or whatever, things that deter us. But imagine if you stay consistent with something for an X amount of time that you set. Look at how much further you will have gone when you look back, and that's the key to anything. Just stay consistent as much as you can. And I guarantee you're gonna have something to be proud of. But don't beat yourself up just because you may not have reached the heights of someone else. Your consistency could be exactly what you need for what you need, for what your purpose is. Everybody's purpose is different.
Yeah, it's a great comparisons are just ugly. They're just brutal. Stop comparing. Just make your own goals, make your own way. Everybody's going to be better. Everybody's going to be less fortunate. Just yeah, make your own path. Stop spending much time trying to devalue a person when all they're trying to do is get through their life,
Mm,
just like you.
mm. You don't know. That speaks to you have no idea what that person went through before they met you. You have no idea. You don't know if they were in an abusive, momentary situation. You don't know if they heard some bad news. You don't know. There's so many, and then somebody could have gone through something good. So you
Right.
don't know. Even if they went through something good, whatever attitude you have could actually just diminish that. And they're like, Dad, like I was having a good day.
So true, Joy. You don't know. You don't know what it's like to be in their shoes. You can't assume. And just being present, being consistent, and just being open and generous just says so much, does so much.
Yeah, it makes you lovable.
Yeah.
Like one thing people always say about me, and I don't know. They're like, I always seem to glow, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm
Oh,
just,
I see that.
I'm just
Yeah.
trying. I really live this. I really try my best, and I try my best even when it hurts, even
Mm,
through a difficult situation. Of course, I'm human and I react sometimes, but ultimately, my heart is genuinely for togetherness,
mm,
you know? Um, and I don't know. I guess there are some cases where, you just have to completely let go. But I always believe that it's always going to come back full circle. And hopefully, when it comes back full circle, both lives will have changed and matured, and actually can have at least a conversation of forgiveness, and at least or understanding if there's nothing that needs to be forgiven for, just understanding so you can leave that situation like, oh, okay, it's not that bad.
mm. Yeah,
That's what
well said.
I believe it can happen.
Absolutely, it can. Yeah, you're an optimist like me, of course. Yeah, I believe that too. So, Joy, I started my business back in the '90s. Much like yourself, working very hard, and I was young. I wasn't paying attention to myself, and before you know it, I got up to 340 pounds. And the doctor said, and my daughter was just born, and doctor said to me, if you don't lose the weight, you're never going to see her graduate. And so I spent the next year and a half. I lost about 130 pounds. I got to where I should go. And people are, losing weight, it's one of the hardest things to do in life, and people kind of want quick fixes.
Mhm.
How did you do it? How did you do it? And I always say discipline. That's it. I got focus. I got discipline. That's how I lost it. I wonder how discipline plays a role in your life, Joy.
Oh boy. I would say I am more disciplined because of my upbringing. My parents raised me in church. So um, I was always, put on a schedule, and I was always, learning things. So that's one way. And then my parents also taught me how to save.
Hmm.
So they did discipline. And my parents are from the islands, so you already
Oh,
know. You already
right.
know that how the house is going to be.
Right.
So in those different structures, and the reason why I say I was raised in church, I believe that's how I was able to connect with being kind and actually
Hmm.
genuinely loving humanity. That was the first part because I was nurtured in love and protected from the outside world or whatever. I don't go to church as often anymore now, but I'm never going to be upset about how I was raised. What I
Mm.
believe is about relationship versus religion. So I do not believe that I could genuinely become a Christian if I wasn't raised in it. You know,
Mm.
that's just my personal belief, but I'm not upset about it either because there was a lot of good things that taught you how to live your life, a lot of structured things. So I'm not mad about that. So that's where part of discipline came. And
Hmm.
then when I started on my journey of, letting the distractions go away, that's when I became even more disciplined. I took off the TV. That takes a lot
It does.
to not watch TV and to not listen to the radio. You have to be very disciplined to do that.
Mm.
Okay,
Mm.
that's like when I was going through the process of cutting it off. Trust me, I'll be like, man, I wonder what's on TV now. Or, dang, I want to. Now I can go without. I don't even listen to the radio. I don't
Mm.
turn my radio on. I may, if somebody's in my car, I'll turn it on, or I don't. Like I don't even have a TV. I choose not to have a TV
Mm.
because there's no point. I'm not going to be, maybe that's my struggle. I'm not going to be taking off of who I'm supposed to be just by watching an hour of fulfillment of something that's not going to teach me anything. I'm not doing that anymore. So I don't need it. I don't need it. If I'm at somebody's home, yeah, I'll watch it. I'm not like crazy. I'm not crazy like that, but it's just I personally in my space, I don't need it.
Mm.
I'd rather be like you said, having experiences.
Mm.
That would be so much more fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I was raised in a church as well, and I don't do it anymore. But the community, right? It was wonderful, right? And it's not for me now, but I am thankful for that. I would get on stage and I would speak, and to this day, I love public speaking. So there's plenty of and just the discipline of structure of the Bible, and you talk about discipline as restraint. You found yourself getting rid of many of these distractions, having restraint for these things, and your discipline growing. It's wonderful sentiment.
Yeah. And I don't believe things don't happen for a reason. So when you become
Mm.
open, like oh man, I knew I was gonna forget his name, but I basically consider him like a teacher. William. I remember his name now, William. I was reading, somebody purchased a big book that had like all of these books inside of it. It's like Napoleon Hill,
Ah,
all of those
sure.
were in there. So I had joined a walking club. And before the walking club started, I was sitting on a bench reading this book. And he was a part of the group. So he noticed that I was reading it. Long story short, he introduced me into understanding crystals, metaphysics, just like
Hmm.
on an elementary level. But it
Sure.
was just beautiful to know how Earth breeds more than what we give it credit for. Like a real crystal is ice cold. And that's
Interesting.
beautiful. You know what I mean? Like that's a rock. It's pretty much a rock that's giving you life. And it can, if you put it in your hand, it'll take the energy or give you energy. Like you feel it alive in you.
Wow.
And that's connecting right back to nature. The same thing that we're going to fertilize the earth with, our own physical bodies, is the same thing that's going to give us nutrients. And the same thing that gives us oxygen. The same thing that gives us art. The same thing that sustains us. We walk on it.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just
Hmm.
when all of us come to the point where we really start respecting the things that are seen, but like in the back of our head and unseen,
Hmm.
you're not gonna want to waste time watching other people's lives. You know, you want to participate in helping other people.
Hmm. Oh, that's wonderful. Your dreams, desires, and goals are all worth your attention.
Go after it. That just means don't give up. That
Right.
means don't give up. Like the minute that you feel like you want to stop or quit, remember the desire needs your attention. Just reach, just keep on digging a little deeper, you know,
Mm, mm. Joy, what motivates you?
everything. Experiences, good or bad, seeing kids, babies,
Mm.
other people when they're overjoyed about something, like when people are successful. Um, I guess you could say I'm a little bit of an empath in a
Mm.
way. I guess I have a little bit of that trait because I can actually look at somebody, whether they're smiling or not, and see like, yeah, something not right with that. You know what I mean? Or
Really?
oh my goodness, yes. Even that picture is like, I was at my job and somebody was showing me a picture of their grandchild. I was like, oh, she's a lot of fun, right? She's like, yeah, how would you know? I was like, yeah, I could just tell. It's right in her face,
Right.
you
Mm.
know? So maybe not empath, but definitely discernment. I'm
Mm.
thankful for that, you know? So,
Sense the energy in the room. I've talked to empaths before. They're fascinating to me how they I wish I have a little bit of it, I guess, in a business sense, and I try to read the room. I try to read nonverbal. I've been around many languages in my life. I've European parents, and and sometimes I don't understand. So inflection and using your hands and but so you try to read that just as much as the words. I don't. I wouldn't consider it empath though. But it's important because what you're not saying is just as important as what you're
hmm
saying.
hmm and you can absolutely help somebody right then and there. If we pay attention, you, like I said, you just don't know. And a lot of
Don't.
times, you don't have to say a word with my company. You just have to wear it.
Mm.
Because kindness starts with me.
Kind of. It sure does.
Maybe somebody who looks at this doesn't feel like that, but maybe it'll empower them and be like, you know
Hmm.
what? Let me give it a try. You just don't know. And it's not our business, nor is it our concern how somebody's life ends. It's kind of like the sowing, the seed. Some plant, some water, some harvest, and that's it. You don't
Wow.
go back just because you watered and be like, let me see how that harvest is going when it's someone else's job to harvest it. You keep on planting in other
Sure do.
areas so that those seeds can grow. And it'll be
Mm.
planted because of your energy, your good soul. Like you talk, like you really should be talking to your plants. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I've heard
you
this.
know what I mean? Like you're giving life. So it's very valuable that we all operate in our purposes, because you just don't know when you don't operate in your purposes, how in your purpose, how many other situations don't line up perfectly because of you.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm holding us accountable. We do need to hold ourselves accountable more and say, well, I don't. No, you're not. You're not trying to control anything. You're just trying to do what you're supposed to do so
Mm.
that everybody else can do what they're supposed to do. Because if everyone else does what they're supposed to do, it may affect you in a way where you can finish doing what you were supposed to do or start
Mm.
doing what you're supposed to do. I'll give you a perfect example. I was getting my hair done, and a woman in the shop, we were watching the show. A woman in the shop said, I wish more African American women would write more so that the younger girls could, have something else to look at. If she didn't say what she said, you would not see 5 books from me.
Hmm.
I immediately
Really?
thought she was attacking me and telling me that I need to. I was like, I love a challenge and I'm not going to back down. So I was like, you talking to me? I said, I know you're
Wow.
not challenging me. That's what I was saying in my head. I was like, well,
Wow.
I'm not an author. Like, I've never written anything. I'm not going to do that. Then I was like, but wait, Joy, you've been posting original content on Instagram for a year, 3 times a day, 7 days a
Wow.
week.
Wow.
That's why the title of those books are that. So I said, oh my goodness. You see how it all works out?
Hmm.
I was trying to be in the algorithm of Instagram, and I ran into a guy that was telling me the best way to get into the algorithm is 2 quotes and 1 picture. I was like, well,
Hmm.
how am I going to come up with quotes? I'm so nervous about, someone coming back and trying to sue a company for using a quote. So I said, I can't.
Oh,
I'm going to have to use my own. And I said, how am I going to do my own? Then life happened. All of these experiences, all of these experiences. Wrote it down, and people liked them. And I thought it was just unuseful information, Once I put it in the book, I was like, ooh, ooh. I was like, ooh. But that's the point of it. She did what she was supposed to do. I did what I was supposed to do.
wow.
I wrote it out, and now it's helping others, blessing others, encouraging others. And
Certainly
now they
is.
can take that same encouragement and give it to others and others, the rippling effect. So, absolutely, it is possible for positivity to have its way. We just have to continue to get out of our own way and allow it to slow, allow it to go ahead and move and flow and glow,
Absolutely. It's a wonderful ride. When you do you walk around with a notebook, Joy? When a quote comes to you, do you write it? Do you record it in your phone?
I mean, recently I've been forgetting them. A lot of those quotes also came when I was driving. So
Oh.
I have a cup that I posted on Instagram. I had a cup in the car and it was a paper cup. So I'm over here driving and
Be
writing all.
careful.
Yes, but I had to write it down because I was like, I know I'm gonna forget this. I'm over here writing and driving, and I'm like, oh. And then when I look back, I'm like, what were you saying? And then I would remember. Then sometimes I would have a piece of paper, rip it out the book bag, and be like writing it down and driving. But that's how I used to write them all down. And then, nothing has been coming too much lately. There have been quotes that came. Like the other night, I was on live and I was talking about when, there's a knock at the door. The quote that I came up, I said, may less and less darkness fill the light.
Hmm.
That means if more of us do, like I said before, it's a
Right.
repeated thing. If more of us do, there's never going to be that much darkness.
Hmm. Hmm. Healing takes time. It's time to start healing.
Yep. That's saying being patient with yourself. We've all been through very traumatic experiences. I'm not going to say little traumatic, very traumatic experiences. We got to stop undershadowing our experiences. A lot of us have, and from infancy, a lot of us go through things, and a lot of us remember things. And a lot of us need to work on those things so that they don't be the reflection of what we do in our everyday lives. Oh, I can't do this. You don't know why, but it's because something happened. I'm
Hmm.
scared of this. You don't know why, but it's because something happened. Address it, heal from it, keep moving.
Try to move on. Yeah, triggers happen, right? And you don't realize, well, why am I feeling this way? And you pull it apart and I said, oh, this is what happened. Okay, now I understand it. Let me try to move from it now. It can be hard work, but it's necessary.
Mhm. And what's life without work?
Right.
We're always
Yeah.
working, we're always working.
Challenging ourselves. Yeah. Joy, how do you measure success?
With the amount, well, there's two things. with how people feel after they leave my presence.
Mm.
Sometimes, I can be a little ashamed. Only with one person, though. It's not that many people. It's just one person who keeps on,
Jabbing
just
at
one
you, right?
person. Yeah. Um, and then also with the amount of lives that I can possibly influence, positively influence, not possibly, but positively influence. That's what I measure success. If somebody, leaves my presence and they're like, smiling and happy, that's beautiful. That's part of my legacy now living with them.
I wish you would see my heart and love my soul.
Mm, that means this. That means this. That's all that means. Your soul is really your third eye.
Mm,
You know, I really truly believe the majority of us really do have good intentions and
me too.
such. Things happen, but it's not impossible. And if we really look into somebody's eyes, into their soul, you may see like a little child that's crying. You know
Mm,
what I mean?
mm.
Or you may see a strong person that just needs a little encouragement. Or you may see some evil. Just run.
Avoid, yeah.
Exactly.
Joy, I was so happy when you accepted this, and you light up me. That's for sure. I love listening to you. I love hearing these quotes. I absolutely adore talking to you. You're such an I see your light right through this, and it's absolutely wonderful. Anybody listening, how can we get in touch with you?
Oh man, you can stay in touch with me all day long. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter. I don't really do Twitter too much, but Lemonade, Clapper, TikTok, all of them you can find at B as in boy, T as in Tom, D as in dog, LLC. We try to post content as often as possible on YouTube. If you want to watch any of the episodes of Hello World, there's 1,000+ episodes.
There is, yeah.
Yes, I
There's
I
so many.
absolutely went live 7 days a week because I wanted to hit 1,000 episodes. And I said, if I did it once a week, I'm never going to get there, and I'm not going to
Wow.
be motivated to do it. So every day I went live. That's why you saw me in the car sometimes at
Yes.
the gym,
Yes.
and it every day it was topics that just came at that moment once I hit live. I did not plan. I tried to plan it in the beginning, but I would always have to once I end the live, I have to change the title. So the channel is Be the Difference Clothing on YouTube. And you can also go on the website to purchase some inspirational items at bethedifferencellc.com. Think of it as you are putting your imprint into the world by wearing some motivational messages that you never know might influence the next positive person that's going to be a
Mm,
legacy holder. And if you did not know, I donate 10% of the clothing designs to Hayden's Heart. It's a local charity in New Jersey that raises awareness for babies with congenital heart disease. And they also aid in families that have their children in the hospital. And they have a home that they built for grieving parents. So I love that. I love babies. And I'm just thankful, that we're able to give back some way. Well, not, you know what? Let me stop saying that because I learned something on YouTube. It's not giving back because they never asked, but it's
mm,
to
mm,
give of. You know what I mean? So your money is going in that direction as well,
mm.
and it also helps the company stay afloat on its own. So.
It's a wonderful distinction. And be the difference LLC. So it's BETHE, the difference llc.com. And then we'll put all in the show notes, but BTD, Be the Difference LLC, and Linktree and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. And then, of course, your YouTube channel. We'll make sure we put it in there. Thank you so much for your time today, Joy. I hope one day, if I'm in your area, we can get a cup of coffee, continue
Yes,
the conversation.
I would love
Please continue what you're doing.
to.
Please. Thank you so much. You be well.
You too.
Bye now. Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pinz Disciple Conversations. Please share this episode with one or two of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypins.com. There you'll find lots of resources and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information, the video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Would you like to financially support the podcast? You can go to our Patreon site. Consider $5, $10, or $20 a month. There's all kind of plans that we have there. There's like a one-time payment. What is this podcast episode worth to you? $25, $50, $100, $500, $1,000, $5,000. You be the judge. You can go to our PayPal account to do that as well. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pinz Disciple Conversations.